This is the Bates Bobcast, our weekly podcast where we take a look at the week that was in Bates athletics. My name is Aaron Morse, and this week we're previewing the tennis and baseball seasons. Because yes, spring sports are almost upon us here at Bates. The women's swimming and diving team competed in the NESCAC Championships last weekend, and the track and field teams continued their record-breaking year at the Valentine Invitational. Plus, we get you ready for the NESCAC Basketball Championships. All that and more coming up on the Bates Bobcast. The women's basketball team welcomed UMaine Augusta to town on Friday, and Bates prevailed 75-44 behind 20 points and 19 rebounds from senior co-captain Allie Coppola in her final home game.
Here's Coppola again, the low block. Outside now for Connors. Left wing Christoffi. Christoffi on the drive. Oh my, Carr with the block. Coppola recovers, score it, and the foul.
The Bobcats fell to Williams on Sunday, but Bates qualified for the NESCAC Championships for the second straight year. They are the 8th seed, and they'll visit top-seeded Amherst this Saturday at 4 o'clock p.m. Meanwhile, the men's basketball team fell to Williams in a tight one on Sunday, losing their final home game by a count of 65-62. Senior Marcus Delpesh led the way with 17 points and scored the 1,000th point of his career.
Now back to Coyne. Lob it in, Marcus Delpesh. In the lane, shot up.
There it is.
Got it. He's got 1,000 points in his career. Marcus Delpesh, the 33rd player in Bates men's basketball history to score 1,000 career points.
Yeah, crowd loves it. And look at them. They know they've all got these signs that say 1,000 on them. So crowd's really fired up. Really happy for Marcus, but at the same time, happy for this team because we needed his offense all year and definitely here today.
Bates is the 7th seed in the NESCAC Championships, and they visit second-seeded Middlebury this Saturday at 2 o'clock p.m. Head coach John Furbush looks back on the regular season and looks forward to the quarterfinal matchup with the Panthers. Well, we're previewing the NESCAC Championships here on the Bobcast with the head coach of the men's basketball team, John Furbush. And, Coach, before we get into the Bates-Middlebury matchup coming up this weekend, the regular season obviously concluded this past weekend against Williams, and Marcus Delpesh is at 1,000th career point. We've had some very good individual accomplishments this year with him with 1,000 career points, Malcolm the career blocks record. How cool has that been for you as a coach to see these guys reach those milestones?
Very cool. It's something that I anticipated would happen at some point during their 4 years here, and I'm just glad that in the last leg Marcus was able to get that 1,000 points in our gym in front of our crowd, and obviously the things that Malcolm has done has been incredible for 4 years on the defensive side of the ball.
Absolutely, and obviously the Williams game itself, touch on it briefly. I mean, a close one. You guys came back there at the end. I mean, how proud were you of your team to be able to fight back there at the end to almost pull out a big comeback there?
Very proud. I mean, these guys fought the whole game, and obviously, we had some chances with leads to push it out. Williams made a run, and big credit to how they played us. But it's easy to just kind of fade away when you're down 8, down 10, and you're not making shots, and you're having trouble getting stops. But these guys just put their hard hats on and found a way to get back in the game. And we had a shot to send it to overtime that was contested. But I mean, those are shots that you're going to have to make in conference play and in the playoffs in order for us to advance.
Yeah, it seems like sometimes this year the team has lived and died a little bit by the three-pointer. Is that something you've noticed?
Yeah, I think the teams have started to guard us a lot different. I think early on the concern from our opponents was how do we guard Marcus and Malcolm? And so a lot of teams in the first few NESCAC games actually doubled the post either on the catch or on the bounce, and so what that enabled our guards to do is get some pretty wide-open threes, and I think as the season has progressed, now opponents are saying, well, we're going to make the Twins beat us one-on-one in the block. And so it's kind of limited our three-point shots a little bit just because they're guarding us more tightly on the perimeter. But at some level, when that ball gets kicked out, we're going to make some when it matters this weekend.
Sure, and speaking of this weekend, you're going to Middlebury. Obviously, this team, 20 wins this year for the Panthers, a very good team. We saw them right here at Alumni Gym in a game where, I mean, frankly, Middlebury, you guys outplayed them, in my opinion, and yet they somehow pulled down rebound after rebound after rebound on the offensive end. I mean,
that's not normally what they do, though. So does that make you feel good about this matchup or bad about this matchup?
Well, the beauty of film, Aaron, is that I figured out why they got so many rebounds, and they're just a fundamentally sound team, and they do what they do, and they're good at it. Where the rebounds hurt us were they drove by our guards, and when our big stepped to help, we never had help the helper. So when those balls came off the rim, their big guy was just wide open, caught it, laid it back in. Now, in defense to our guards, they were guarding Matt St. Amour, who's arguably the best player in the league, so they were kind of at a moral dilemma. Do I take away an open layup, or do I give the best player an open three? And so we'll make that adjustment this weekend. But I feel confident that we can play with these guys. Their tempo is crazy fast, but I think that we have the athletes to stay with them, so hopefully we can just limit their buckets in transition.
Yeah, a lot of teams in the NESCAC are very balanced, like Tufts, lots of different guys can score and whatnot. But Middlebury, Matt St. Amour, as you mentioned, he's the leading scorer, and it's not even close. This guy is their, go-to guy. So how does that change your defensive strategy when a team has such a superstar on their end?
Well, he's dynamite. He's not just a good scorer, he's a good passer as well. So what we really want to do is just make his touches difficult and limit him. And then when he does get them, we're going to put our best defender on him and have him play straight up and just take away everybody else. I think he's gonna score it no matter how you look at it. As long as we make his catches and his shots difficult and limit the other guys, I think we have a good chance to win. On the other side of the ball, we really want to make them guard us. I think that because they play so fast, they trap you into taking early shots, but we want to make sure they're the right early shots. And so, because if you miss those, then they're going the other way just as fast again. So we want to make sure that we make them guard, especially Matt, so that if he's going to play 40 minutes, he's going to be very, very tired.
Right, and then for you guys on offense, you have so many guards, it seems like, especially now with Sean Strickland coming back, into the rotation. So that's a challenge for you as a head coach, right, in terms of playing time?
It's a huge challenge. It is hard because I think we have maybe 8-9 guards that can legitimately help us win games, and what we've done all year is kind of ride the hot guy. If someone goes in and makes a shot or makes a big play, we go with them for a while. The good and the bad thing for them is that there's always somebody on the bench that is capable of doing all the things they are. So if they're not able to come in and get it done, we have another guy to rotate. Now with Sean back, this the stability that he provides when he's got the ball in his hands is infectious to all of us, including myself. So, this week of practice will be very important because I still think that, not that we're in a tryout mode, but we're going to see who emerges this week and who's ready to prepare for Middlebury, because we could go small with them, we could go big with them, and I think moving forward, that's where we're going to have an advantage with our different lineups.
Some of the first years obviously very intriguing this year, Jeff Spellman and Nick Gilpin. Seems like Jeff's more aggressive and Gilpin a little bit more kind of being more of a distributor. It seems like he's got a pretty good shot, though. Are you looking for him to be more aggressive sometimes?
Yeah, Nick, and this is good timing to talk about this, because Middlebury actually doubled off Nick in the post and just basically said we were going to make Nick Gilpin shoot the ball. And after a few possessions, he started to realize it and started to take some shots. But he's a very, very good shooter. Nick, I hope you're listening to this when I tell you this. That if you can take the shot, if you're open, you got to take it. In practice he wins a lot of the shooting drills, but it's just not in his nature. He's more of a distributor first. But I think, if he really cares about the well-being of this team, we need you to make some shots and really just take some shots, so his drives become even more. He gets even more separation from the defense. And then Jeff is just, he's a dynamite player. He's very difficult to guard, so I'm intrigued to see how, when he comes into the game on Saturday, how Middlebury decides to match up with him. And
then obviously it's much different when you're going on the road. What's it like playing at Middlebury? You've obviously been there before.
Yeah, the place it has a lot of energy. Middlebury plays incredibly well in that gym, I think similar to the way we play in Alumni. So they're going to play probably 6 points better there than they would if they were here. But luckily it's not a place that doesn't have, there's some other schools that just don't have that vibe when you get in, whereas I feel like when you get to Middlebury, there's good energy. So, we just plan to, the road trip's the thing that just sucks. There's no way around that. That's just a tough drive. Yeah. But, we'll leave Friday and make sure we get some proper rest. But at this point in the year, I think we've probably played almost better on the road than we have at home. So I'm interested to see if we can keep that going on Saturday.
And obviously for these seniors, these are do or die games, right? That must up the intensity a lot.
Big time. In a weird way, looking back, I almost wish we had that mentality on Sunday against Williams, because I feel like we played a little bit like we knew we had one more game left. And that's hard to, go into that game thinking, well, do or die. But now it is do or die,
Yeah.
and I think these guys, the seniors especially, are going to have an incredible week of practice, laser focus, and I think they will be carrying us to victory on Saturday.
All right, looking forward to it. The NESCAC Championships coming up this weekend. John Furbush, thanks so much.
Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it.
The women's swimming and diving team finished 5th out of 11 teams at the NESCAC Championships over the weekend. Their 8th consecutive top 5 finish. Bates tied a program record with 9 all-NESCAC selections, including first-year Yannicka Ho. Ho had 5 all-NESCAC finishes, breaking Bates' record in the 500 and 100-yard butterfly along the way. She also led off the 200 freestyle relay, an event in which Bates broke the program, the pool, and the meet record on their way to an all-NESCAC finish. For her big weekend at her first NESCAC Championships, Yannicka Ho is our female Bobcat of the week.
It was a really exciting weekend. It was a lot of fun to be there with the whole team and to just really come together and have a lot of fun as a women's team.
3 days of events, obviously. What was that like?
It was exhausting for sure. It was a lot of swimming and a lot of hard work and everything, but it was really fun to, I think the energy of the team really helped us get through the 3 days.
Pretty sure your very first event, the relay on Friday, you broke the team broke the relay team's record. So what was that like, your first event at NESCACs and you break a team record already?
Yeah, it was so exciting. I really think that the adrenaline and the excitement of being at my first NESCACs definitely helped me to go a best time in the relay, so that was really exciting.
This was your first chance to see Williams and Amherst and everything. What was that like to go against that type of competition?
Yeah, it was definitely a harder competition than we've had in the past at other meets, and they are really fast schools, and so I think it was really fun. It definitely pushed all of us to really show our best.
And then for you personally, what event did you think went the best? I mean, you got second in a number of the events, but what event did you really feel that you really clicked there?
I think the 100 fly, that was really exciting, and I think that was my best event of the weekend. I dropped a lot of time in that one, so that was also a lifetime best for me, so it was really exciting. And I got second, so that was also fun.
I think it was a lifetime best and a school record, if not mistaken.
Yeah, it was. So that was exciting, too. My name is finally going to be up there, so...
Right, because Coach Casares always talks about the importance of, become faster and faster and faster, and that's what you've done, right?
Yeah, definitely. So this is the culmination of that, and I think the 100 fly went really well.
Now, I know nationals is there's always we don't know necessarily who's going to go or in what event, and so when do you find out? Are you nervous about that, or what are you thinking right now?
I actually also don't really know exactly how it works, but I think that we find out after this next weekend, because there's men's NESCACs, and I know a lot of teams go there and swim a relay just to get a faster time. But I think our relays are all placed really, really well right now in the NESCAC, so I'm sure some of them will go.
And for you personally, how cool would it be to represent the team there at Nationals?
I would be so excited to represent Bates at Nationals. I think that would be really, really fun and a really cool opportunity.
I mean, it's almost the end of the year, but so what do you think you've learned so far, the most important lesson you learned throughout your first year at Bates as a swimmer?
I would say that, just to relax and have fun. I think I came into, the swim season, really nervous, with a lot of really high expectations and goals. And I think that just, relaxing and having fun and enjoying the time with the women's team and the men's team has really been helpful. And I think when you have fun, then you achieve your goals in the process. So
it was kind of a rare meet where it's just the women, right? The men weren't there. So what was that like?
Yeah, it was really fun. I think that it really helped us come together a lot more. And there were men who came and cheered us on and stuff. But it was nice to have that girl time on deck too.
And then among your teammates, I know obviously fellow first-year Monica Sears had a really good meet. I know she actually won a NESCAC championship in one of the events. What was that like to see your teammates do so well also?
It was so inspiring to see everyone do well. I think that at this meet, it was really it showed all of the hard work that we've put in as a team together, and I think that all of our great performances and we had so many top 8 finishes, so many people in finals, so many relays placed really well, and so I think that was just a really inspiring thing to see how all the hard work has paid off.
How much of a chance did you get to watch your teammates in action, or are you mostly between events kind of cooling down, or how'd that work?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's definitely that aspect of focusing on making sure you're cool down from your old race and making sure you're ready for the next one. But there's a lot of time. Like, swim meets are kind of long, so there's definitely a lot of time in between to cheer. And I think that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, because at NESCACs you got the morning session, and then you have the late session. So what do you do between sessions to like stay focused and prepare for the next one?
Well, we all have lunch together, and then we usually go back to the hotel and like try to take a nap or like put your legs up to like get rid of some of the soreness. Yeah, and we had like some like group meetings too in between sessions to just kind of like chat.
So what are you going to be working on this week? I assume obviously practice is normal, just because the nationals are coming up and everything.
Yeah, we had a day off yesterday, which was really nice
Right.
to recover. But yeah, we go back to practicing pretty regularly, like how we were practicing before too, in preparation for nationals.
Last question: how are you liking this weather?
Oh, this is the most snow I've ever seen in one place. So it's nice though. It's really pretty.
All right. Well, Yannicka, thanks so much, and congrats again on being our female Bobcat of the Week.
Thank you.
The track and field teams competed at the Valentine Invitational over the weekend and turned in some big results. On the women's side, senior Allison Hill broke her own Bates 200-meter record. Junior Sally Cisse broke her own triple jump record, and the Bobcats also broke the team's record time in the 4x400 relay race. On the men's side, Bates recorded the 6th fastest distance medley relay race in Division III indoor history, finishing in 9 minutes, 49.74 seconds. Junior Jack Kiley anchored the race, running the final 1,600 meters in 4 minutes, 6.5 seconds. For his strong anchor leg in the program record-breaking performance, Jack Kiley is our male Bobcat of the Week.
Well, we wanted to go down there and laid out a good qualifying time. We ran at BU like 2 weeks earlier for the John Terrier invite, and we ran a pretty good time there, but we knew that wasn't going to travel, and we wanted to take our chance at Valentine and run the qualifying time, and then that way we don't have to go back and run a DMR at Tufts final chance, so it gives us a little bit of breathing room to focus on some other events that we all want to try to qualify to, so like 800 for Pat, maybe the mile for me.
Absolutely, and obviously very successful, 6th fastest time ever run by a D3 team. When did you know that you'd run such a great time, and when did you learn?
Well, Pat ran the leadoff leg, the 1200, and he ran a 3 flat, and that was 4 seconds faster than what he ran 2 weeks prior. And then I saw that, and I was like, all right, we're going to run fast. And then my coach Fresh, kind of called me over before I was about to go on the line. He's like, Jack, Pat just ran 3 flat, now it's your turn. And that got me fired up, and I was like, let's go after it. I didn't really expect to run what we did. I just got the baton and started running. And thankfully there were 2 kids in front of me that I could chase down and have them to pull me along. So
Yeah, you ran the anchor leg, right?
Yep. The 1,600 leg. So like the mile leg, not really the mile, but
Right, close enough. And then so what's it like to be the anchor to run the final leg for the team?
It's pretty nerve-wracking, being the last one on the line, watching all your teammates go and kill it before you feel a little bit of a pressure. But then again, once I start running with the baton, it's just my mind kind of goes blank, and I hear my teammates, my coach cheering for me. So I was really excited and just started running. It was a fun time.
And it sounds like you guys are in a very good position to go to nationals in that event now.
Yeah, Middlebury ran also really, really well.
Right.
They broke the national record. So they're seated at like 954, and we're at 957. And that should travel for sure unless a bunch of other D3 teams run near the national record. So we're pretty confident that we're going to go. But you never know, so we got to keep our options open.
I find it interesting that this year all of a sudden, like, the national record's just being assaulted by a bunch of D3 teams like this.
Yeah, I mean, Amherst set it back in 2012. And, yeah, there's always just a lot of talent up in the Northeast. Usually NESCAC teams are the ones that go after these kind of records. And, yeah, I mean, Middlebury's got a phenomenal miler. I knew that going to the race I wanted to try to compete with him. And he ended up running like 4:05, so he definitely pulled me along, and it was a good time.
Yeah, for sure. And then the next day you set your personal record in another event, right?
Actually, that
Most accurate.
my feet had been bothering me, and my coach pulled me out. So I went out and I scratched out of the 1,000, and then lo and behold, when I got back to Bates, I checked TFRS, which is like the track and field reporting system, and yeah, so that I ran a 2:29 in the 1,000. I was like, that's not right. So apparently some kid, I guess, took my hip number and hopped in the heat I was supposed to be in. So now technically I ran a 2:29, which, I mean, yeah, it's a PR, but if I was to run it, I would hope to go a little bit faster.
So you weren't the one who ran that?
No, I wasn't the one that ran that. I think it was a Rutgers kid, so that's what I hear.
Well, thanks to Rutgers, I guess. It's
a PR on Tiffers, so Tiffers.
That's hilarious. All right. Well, I mean, do you see errors like that often, or is that kind of rare?
That's the first that I've ever seen anything like that.
Yeah.
I haven't even talked to my coach about that either, so I don't know what the deal is with that, if it'll be fixed or not.
Interesting. Well, that's the crazy world of college sports, I guess. But what's next for you guys? You got the indoors coming up.
We have Division IIIs, yeah. Pretty sure, yeah, they're at Tufts. So, this is always a really competitive meet, and I think this year our team's looking really, really good. Obviously, we have D-Ray in the throws. We have some really good distance guys like Joe Doyle, Mike Horowitz, Evan Ferguson-Hull. They're our cross-country captains. And then we have a freshman, James Jones, who I'm sure you've heard of from cross-country. And then the mid-D guys who ran the DMR, I'm thinking we can all have a pretty good team effort and hopefully go after that title, because MIT is usually really competitive, Tufts, Williams, and I think we're going to be up there with those teams this week.
Great. Well, Jack, thanks so much for joining us here on the Bobcast. Congrats again on being our male Bobcat of the week.
Thank you very much, Aaron.
The Alpine and Nordic skiing teams combined to finish 8th out of 15 teams at the Dartmouth Carnival. Saturday was a banner day for the Bobcats, with junior Sierra Ryder turning in a career-best carnival performance as she finished 10th in the slalom out of 49 collegiate skiers. In Nordic skiing, senior Sadie James also turned in a career-best carnival performance, finishing 5th out of 68 collegiate skiers in the 5K classical technique race. There is a lot of snow on the ground, but a pair of spring sports begin next week nonetheless. The baseball and tennis teams head to California to get their seasons going. The baseball team debuts Sunday at Chapman and plays 5 games next week. And they are led by new head coach John Martin, who came to Bates from Vassar over the offseason.
Well, there's lots of snow outside, but it is almost baseball season here at Bates. The Bobcats get started Sunday and on their annual trip out west to California, and we're joined by the new head coach of the Bates baseball team, John Martin, to talk about the upcoming season. And, Coach, first of all, obviously in the NESCAC, you don't get to practice much before the year. First day of practice coming up Wednesday. And so as the new head coach here, first of all, what are you hoping to learn from the few days of practice before the trip, and then what are you hoping to learn during the trip about your Bobcats?
Well, thanks for having me, Aaron. I think it's definitely a different challenge than what I'm used to with the NESCAC parameters that are on our season. But I do think that from what I've been able to gather, that the guys are in pretty good shape, and I know they're excited to play and get out of here and see the green grass and the sun finally. But I think we've these few days coming up, we're gonna try to just get a look at our pitchers and make sure that they're as sharp as they can be at this point. Being able to do what they've been doing to prepare themselves individually. But I also think that we're going to go over just some basic X's and O's, try to do some cuts and relays and just some communication for the few days leading up, and then we'll get on the plane and get out of here. So we're excited, and I think the guys are ready to go, and we'll let the adrenaline take over once we get out there.
Yeah, and then once you're out there, obviously you're playing games against some tough competition who's been playing for a while in some of their cases. But what's your strategy in terms of deploying pitchers, deploying your lineups, in terms of trying to learn as much as you can about your players? Because you do have a ton of guys, and you have to figure it all out before NESCAC play, basically, right?
Yeah, we do. So we've got to give some guys a chance, and we've got to get a look at some combinations, especially in the infield, and kind of figure out whose role is going to be what on the mound. And try to get an idea of how we can put our lineup together. I think those are going to be some of the biggest things that we need to look out for. So, I expect that there will be some mistakes. I don't expect perfection with just given the circumstances. But one thing I do want to see is I want to see our guys compete. I want to see our guys play hard. We're only out there for a week before we come back to the snow. So let's get the most of it out of it we can. And let's get a good feel coming back to the Northeast of what we got and what our abilities are as a team.
Great. And then obviously I know I'm sure you've talked with Coach Leonard about the team that you're inheriting here. So who are some guys who you're kind of excited to see that you've heard about that you think are going to be big leaders for the team this season?
Well, we do have a big freshman class, so Coach did a good job bringing in some quality players, obviously, in that class. But we do have a good amount of leadership at the back end of the roster too. So I think our senior class is working hard, and they're trying to set the right example. One thing I've tried to do is get a good clubhouse here and get a good atmosphere, and get these guys kind of playing as a team and keeping it loose and fun, but at the same time getting our work in and making sure that each day that they're waking up, that they're being as productive as they can be to prepare themselves individually. So I think that we've got a good leadership. I think that some of the seniors, our two captains, Ryan McCarthy and Brendan Fox, will do a good job leading the way this year by example. And I think that anchoring down the pitching staff, I think we've got 3 upperclassmen coming back, and Anthony Teleska, Connor Speed, and Connor Russell. Mm-hmm. They've all played good baseball. They've all logged some innings in. They're experienced. So I'm looking for those guys to kind of lead the way and help this big freshman class get ready to go.
Yeah, Connor Russell, after kind of a slow start last year, kind of had a breakthrough year for Bates. And, as a potential weekend starter, what do you tell guys who are potential weekend stars about the difference between that and maybe being a midweek guy? Yeah,
well, you know what? My philosophy is I want to play every game with our best. So I don't really care who it is or when we're playing them. Whatever our best is, we're going to put it out on the field that day. So we're going to play to win. NESCAC games or non-NESCAC games, my job is to put the best product on the field, and the guys that are in the lineup and the guys that are on the team to give them the best opportunity to win. So I think that our pitchers are going to be primed. I think they're going to be ready to go. Part of this trip is going to be to figure out who is can be stretched out as a starter, who's more of a middle relief kind of bridge guy, and then who can come into the back end of the game and finish it. So I think once we get about 5 or 6 games under our belt and give everybody an appearance and see what they're capable of doing, I think we'll have a pretty good idea of who can handle what. Great. Obviously, this being your first year at Bates, what's been your favorite part about the transition here, and then what's been maybe the most difficult part so far for you? My favorite part, and it came to no surprise, I knew that there were just good people here and that the attitude was a positive one surrounding athletics, and it really is. And I think the guys on the team have done a great job given me some space to kind of feel it out a little bit, but at the same time giving me some advice and helping me learn the ropes a little bit. So I really appreciate that. They've been great. Obviously, the weather recently, it's just been brutal, and we got crushed with snow yesterday. So it's going to be a while before this thing thaws out up here. But I think that was kind of expected. Moving to Maine to coach spring baseball, I should have been ready for that. But for the most part, everything's been great. I'm just excited to get the guys together and put the uniform on and get out there and play. Well, you came from upstate New York, so it can't be that big of a weather difference, right? You'd be surprised. It is to some extent. It's just a different type of snow up here. This is the real deal, and so it's hopefully it'll start thawing out. The sun is out today, so hopefully it'll melt a little bit of it away, but there's nothing we can do about it. We're going to just get ready to go to California and figure it out after that. And you must be so excited, to go to California, to get the first game under your belt here at Bates. You've been doing this for a while, at other programs, but it must be an exciting feeling to have games so close now. Yeah, it's pretty awesome, actually. And I was kind of apprehensive about it when I took this position. I knew that was the deal, just with the way the breaks line up here, but at the same time, it breaks up the monotony. We're going to get outside. We'll get in the sunshine quicker and sooner than anybody else in the conference and in the region for the most part. So I'm fine with it. I think the guys are used to it for the most part. We're fine with it. It's baseball. We know how to play. We're just going to show up and put the hat on and get ready to go. So we'll be fine. All right, Coach. Thanks so much. Looking forward to the Bates baseball season coming up starting on Sunday. You got it. Thanks, Aaron. Go Bobcats. The men's and women's tennis teams both visit Westmont on Monday for their first match out west. Their head coach is Bates alum Paul Gassengay, back for his 21st season.
Yeah, it's a pretty special trip every year because we get to spread out and practice on a lot of courts outside. And we play 6 matches total, 3 with the men, 3 with the women against some of the best teams in the country. We lead off with Westmont, who's an NAIA team. They were, I believe, national champs a couple years ago with the men, and the women are a strong team as well. And then we both teams play Pomona, who are perennially great teams, top 8, top 5 in the country, and then the women play Caltech, and the men play Claremont at the end of the week. So they were national champs a couple years ago too. So it's a daunting task. You have a few days of practice, and you go out and you start playing this really high level immediately. But that's what I love about it is, we don't fear anyone, and we go out. The guys know they had to train all winter to get ready for this because we only have a few days of practice. So it really is a great opportunity for our guys to go out and test themselves and see where they're at, and we'll have a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Well, obviously the headliner for both teams, really, Ben Rosen for the men, an All-American last year as a sophomore. How excited are you to see where he can take this next?
Very excited to have him back. He's a leader on and off the court. And, he's playing good ball right now, but, he was away last semester, and, there's little things we have to work on. Just like everyone else, we're constantly every day trying to, improve and find parts of our game that will take us to the next level and tweak a couple of things. But they're training hard. They're looking good. The women's team is excited to have Maisie back as well, who was abroad. She was our number 1 last year, but I have to say this is the best group we've ever had, both men and women, in terms of training in the off season, and they really did a great job.
Yeah, on the women's side, you have your 3 top players back. Maisie, Elizabeth, and Bella, who last year really made an impact as a first year, right?
Yeah, they're all outstanding athletes, and they're committed, and they work hard, and they understand it's a team effort, and individuals score points, but they all push each other in training every day, in practice, and in the weight room, or running, or doing all our out of season workouts, and they've really taken it to another notch, and looking forward to it.
And then switching back over to the men's side, obviously Ben kind of the headliner after last year, but obviously Chris Ellis makes up a great doubles team with Ben, and also is a very good singles player himself. Where is he at right now in his progress?
Chris is looking great. He had a great summer. Unfortunately, he had a real bad ankle injury at the end of the summer in a tournament, but he was really top form all summer, playing a lot of men's tournaments and having a lot of success. He's looking good now. He's finally back close to 100%, and I know he gives it everything he has on the court all the time, and no one trains harder than Chris. We have to just get him to take a day off once in a while.
Right. And obviously, all winter the team's been training, on their own indoors though, and now they're going to head to California and play outdoors in the bright sun. That's a big difference, right?
It's a huge difference, but like I said, they treat it as an opportunity, and they're grateful to be outside in the sun, in the warmth, and it never fails. Every year we go out and we play some of our best tennis in the first week of the year. So these courts are great. We're very fortunate to have a great indoor facility, and they play similar to a hard court, a little bit faster, but it gets us ready, and we'll be raring to go.
Great. And then who are maybe some under the radar, or maybe some newcomers, even some first years, who you're really excited to see this season, how they can contribute to the team effort?
Well, we've got Isabel Ravinsky, who's an outstanding player, all-court game, just a real fighter, and just real savvy on the court. And Lauren Hernandez, who's very athletic and has some great doubles skills already. Susie Elfman is another outstanding first year, and she unfortunately got injured this week, but we'll look forward to her return later this spring. And on the men's side, we have 4 amazing first years. Jacob Eisenberg hasn't been able to really play until about a month ago because he had hip surgery in the summer, so he's coming back strong now. And then we've got Vid, who's playing unbelievable tennis, had a great finish in the fall with Adam Schwartz at doubles, made the finals of the B flight. We've got Nick Glover, who had an outstanding fall, especially in doubles with Josh Chiano. So looking forward to seeing what they're going to do, as well as Jacob Coppola. And Jacob is playing some really good doubles right now, a great athlete. So we've got a lot of interchangeable parts, and so, we're a team, and it's really going to depend on who plays the best against other competition, who fights the hardest, who works the hardest, who has the best attitude, and those players will see time in the lineup. So it's a good problem to have, but we have a lot of great players. So.
Yeah, and how lucky do you feel as a coach that you get the opportunity to have kind of a sneak peek of your team in that fall season? Because other spring sports coaches don't have that same luxury.
Exactly. Tennis is still in that old model, and we're very fortunate to have that, not only for on the court, but just to be with our kids right away at the start of school and sort of get them into the right mode academically, and managing their time and putting that together with tennis. So we sort of have that opportunity to get them in the right mode, and that carries through the investment season, as we call it, in between the seasons, and then they're really picking up steam now heading into the spring.
Do you set any specific goals either with your team or in your own mind about what you would consider a kind of a successful season, or do you just generally know one when you see one?
Yeah, it's an interesting question because, as you know, the NESCAC and NESCAC tennis is probably the most competitive sport in NESCAC. I mean, we've got so many, like 7 or 8 nationally ranked teams out of 11. It's very, very rigorous schedule that we have, and then we add to it. So I don't try to really pin us in with an end-of-season goal. It's obviously to make NESCACs and then see where we can go, get to NCAAs. But we really take it match by match, week by week, and just keep improving every day. That's the part we control, and keep working on our craft, keep getting better, keep getting stronger, and we'll be where we are at the end of the season, and it's really the day-to-day that's going to fuel that.
All right, well, men's and women's tennis getting started next week in California. Paul Gassengay, thanks so much.
Thanks, Aaron.
Next time on the Bates Bobcast, we'll recap how the men's swimming and diving team fares at the NESCAC Championships this weekend. We'll also recap the quarterfinals of the NESCAC Championships for both basketball teams, and we'll let you know if the men's squash team can take back the home cup at Team Nationals. All that and more next time on the Bates Bobcast.
5 billion on every game.